I don't have any trade secrets. I know there are other candle makers who won't give you direct answers. I'm not one of them. I'm very open. So if there's something you want to know about candles that I'm doing and you have a question about, or what I'm using, or where I bought something, I will always answer. Because guess what? My candle business might not make it for a year, and I might help someone who does. So for me, that's might not be my achievement, but it still brings me joy that someone can get something done or achieve something even if I give the minimal amount of help. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For anyone who's new here, hi, hello. I am sorry for the reflective whatever is going on in my glasses. If you watched my last video, you know I'm having issues with my eyes. My eyes are still rejecting my contacts, so these glasses will have to do until I guess spring ends. I don't know. But for anyone who's new here, hi, hello, welcome, and thank you so much for subscribing. Guys, I passed 500 subscribers this morning. I couldn't believe it. But thank you guys so much for supporting me. I truly, really appreciate it. Now, enough blabbering, let's get into the video. So for today's video, I'm going to be answering questions that I've seen repeated over the course of my other videos. It's mostly things like what wax do I use, what temperature do I pour, how many fragrance oil I use, things like that. I find myself answering the same questions over and over again. So I thought I'd make this video for anyone who has any other question. They can refer to this video to find their answers. I'll also post the questions that are being asked repeatedly on the screen. So if you don't have to watch the whole video to get the answer that you want, just scroll through to find the question that you wanted to ask. So I'm going to refer to my iPad because, again, I can't see from afar. So I'll just start off. It's about, I'd say, 13 to 14 questions. They're not long, so this video definitely will not be long either. The first question is, how do you prevent your candles from frosting? My colored ones frost so much. Some tips and help would mean so much. Love the colors. Your candles are beautiful. Thank you, Dust Candle Co. For frosting, I do have frosting. I think maybe because the poor quality of my videos, you guys can't really see. But I do have frosting on my candles, on my bubble candles that is, because I do use color. So one thing to note is that soy wax cause frosting naturally. You add colors and it dyes to that, it's gonna even be more prominent because of the color. So frosting is, for me, it's like a cosmetic issue. It does happen. There's customers who don't really care about that, but I understand as a creator, we want to be perfectionist, so we see frosting and we think it's a big issue. It's more of a cosmetic issue, so I wouldn't worry too much about it unless your frosting is extreme. Then I would say what I do is I stir very slowly, like super slowly, ridiculously slowly. That's one. Two, I also use paraffin, guys, in my candles. So even though my candles are mostly soy based, except for my bubble candle right now, I do mix a bit of parasoy in my soy wax to make my candles. And I've realized that since doing that, I have helped with the frosting. Not only that, for my bubble candles, I do not use a lot of dye. So I use the dye chips, and I probably use like 2 pieces of the dye chips, and I also use mica powder. So I'm not sure if the mica powder is what helped to keep the frosting down, but I don't only just use dye. I also use two small pieces of dye chips and a little bit of mica powder to make the colorant for my bubble candles. The next one is, hello, do you use any additives or is it just pure soy candle? My candles are not perfect always and I don't know if I need anything else. Thank you. So hi Celeste. I do not use any additives per se in my candles. Before I used to use coconut oil. Not sure where I got that from, but it wasn't working out. And my candles aren't pure soy. I do advertise them as soy because it's over 90% soy, but I do have a little bit of parasoy in my candle. I would say about 9% of my candle is parasoy, and it has helped tremendously, not only with the hot throw of my candle, but also with the appearance and the smoothing. So I do smooth my candles at the end with my heat gun, but it's not as severe as if it was just 100% soy candle. Your candles will not always be perfect, honey. That's the thing. There are some people I see when they post their Instagram videos, they post like all the candles come out nicely. Trust me, that's the better batch that they're posting. Your candles won't always come out smooth. I do have candles over there. I'm looking at about like 8 or 9 of them that are just wrong. They're from different batches and they just came out completely wrong and I couldn't fix them. And they're there and I burn them when I'm bored. So your batches won't always come out perfect. But what I do is I have consistency in my candle making. So I put the thermostat to the same temperature every single time. It's like a habit. I do every batch the exact same way so that if anything happens, I can figure out where I went wrong with it if I change something. So 100% soy will always give issue. Let's just say that. Soy wax is very temperamental, so it will always cause issues. The next one is high. At what temp do you pour into your molds? And I'm assuming that means the bubble candle. This question, let me just say off the bat, I will answer any questions anyone have for me, but I don't like giving specifics for certain questions, not because I'm keeping trade secrets, but because remember, some of you are using just soy and I use a bit of para soy in my wax. So I don't want to tell you, yes, I add the oil at 175 degrees and you go try it and then you say, oh, I don't know how it worked for her, it didn't work for me. I use a bit of para soy, so it changes things in the buildup of my candle. I will answer the questions though, but just keep in mind that unless you're doing exactly what I'm doing, which is use 10% para soy in your soy wax, it probably won't work for you, but try it, who knows. 165 for my jar candle and 175 for my pillar candles. And again, guys, those 2 candles are mixed with soy wax and para soy wax. The next one is, how do you prevent bubbles in your candles and what kind of wax did you use? And this one was on bubble candle as well. You have to mix your melted wax very slowly. If you mix in any vigor, it will create small air bubbles in the mixture, which will end up causing bubbles in your candle. So definitely mix your wax and oil combination as slow as possible. Thoroughly, but as slow as possible. And then what kind of wax do I use? So I do use 4 wax in total, which is a bit expensive, but it works. So I use the pillar of bliss wax. I use the tart soy wax from what you call that place, Candle Science, and I mix those 2. Or I mix that same soy tart wax from Candle Science with the Fleming candle, Pro Blend 650 for my mold candle, which is my bubble candle. And then for my jar candle, I use, what's that candle? God, I keep forgetting Nature's Garden wax. It's a Nature's Garden wax. I'll list it on the screen. And I mix it with my Nature C3 wax. So both wax are a combination of 2 different waxes. The next one is, how long do you leave your candle to set? And again, bubble candles, I leave them between 6 to 8 hours. 6 if I'm in a rush, 8 to 10 sometimes if I forget. Next question is, great video. Question, what size is the box you use for the bubble candle? So the box I use is, it's over there. But the box is a gift box from Amazon. The size is 3x3x3. And then another question is, hey girl, I'm struggling with wax leaking from my bubble molds. How do you keep the wick in after the hole is made for the first time already? Do you use a needle again? Okay, so I have the video. If you look at the video where I showed you guys how I make my bubble can from step to step, I literally use a needle. It's a very small needle to pierce the hole in the mold. Use that same needle every single time to wick the mold. Now the needle is from I don't remember what the set is called, but it's like a repair kit. The needle is extremely small, but it has a hole big enough to weed through the wick to in it for me to wick the molds. So yes, I do use a needle every single time I go to wick the mold, but the same needle that I use to pierce it, so the hole doesn't get any bigger. And the wick size actually fits into the hole. So the last thing you want to do is use a needle that is bigger than the wick. If you use a needle that's bigger than the wick to pierce it, once you put the wick in, there'll be spaces left on the side which will cause leakage. So use a needle that's the same size as your wick or even smaller than your wick, not bigger. And then, where did you purchase those bags for the chocolate mold melts? I have the same mold, would love to purchase those. Thanks, Henrietta. Hi Henrietta, you are very constant on my videos and I love you for that. So the bags I use are the Treat cellophane bags on Amazon. They're called Treats cellophane Treats 3x11 size bags. I use those for the molds. When you put the melt in the bag, if you don't open the bag before, it will cause like little scrapes of wax on the bags, and because it's cellophane, you can obviously see it and it's clear. So I'd say just a tips for that. If you're getting that bag, try to make sure you open the bag before you put the wax melt in. And next question is, hi, is that a parasoy? I've been working on palm soy. It's giving me frosting problem. Can you share the temp level for melting, mixing, adding color and scents, and pouring for parasoy? Thanks. Now this is one of the questions where I said I did give her the answer for it, and I'll give you guys as well. But like I said before with a previous question, unless we're doing the exact same thing by using the exact same wax mixture, what I give you probably won't even help. It might, surprisingly, so still try it. But I don't want you to think that because I'm using parasoy, it's the same temperature every single time. It's not, because it's mostly soy wax with parasoy mixed in for my jar candle, and then parasoy with soy with a little bit of soy mixed in for my bubble candles. So again, for my jar candles, I melt to 185. I add the oil at 175, and I pour at 165. And then for my bubble candle, I melt to 180. I add 180, 185. I add the oil and the color right away, and then I pour it into my mold at 175. So that's because those temperatures work for me using the mixture of waxes that I use. So again, you can try if you're using parasoy straight out and see if it works. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. It's not meant to be an exact working solution for you. It's meant as a guide based off what I use. The next one is, what colored dye do you use and where did you get them? Lovely work. I love your candles. Thank you so much, Mihaela. The colored dye I use are the dye chip from the Flaming Candle, and now the mica powder from Amazon. So yes, I have not tried any other form of dye. I still have a bit of dye chip from Flaming Candle left, and until I finish using those, I won't be testing anything else. So the only dye I've ever used before is a dye chip from Flaming Candle. What the perfect temperature for the wax that needs to be? This is a question I cannot answer, which I told her in my response. Every manufacturer who sells a certain wax will tell you what temperature, will suggest, and they aren't always right on the nail. You have to play around sometimes, but they will tell you what temperature to melt your wax, what temperature to add your fragrance oil, what temperature to pour in your container. Those are guidelines for you to work with, and every wax has a different guideline, different temps. So I can't tell what the perfect temp is for melting or pouring your wax, because I don't know what wax you're using. So I'm not brushing anyone off when I answer questions like that. I just can't tell you because I don't know what wax you're using, and there's no perfect temperature for every single wax. It depends on what wax you're using. And then how do you prevent your bubble candle from having flat tops? I was curious about this. This question had me researching that day, because I was like, flat tops, how? It doesn't make any sense. But when I bought my second mold for my bubble candles, I didn't realize there were two different molds. One of them create flat top bubble candles, the other doesn't. So I think it's the manufacturer of the mold and who made those molds you're buying. That's what causing the flat top. It's not anything that you're doing on your end, it's the mold itself. So I'm trying as hard as possible to only make my candles with my first mold that doesn't give me flat tops, because the one that's brand new and perfect and clean give me flat tops. So it's not you, it's your mold. That is it for those questions. If I didn't answer any question that you wanted answered in this video, you can still ask me down below, or any other video that you want to ask me on. I will still answer. But again, guys, please don't ask me what the perfect temperature is for a wax, because it depends on what wax you're using and what combination you're using. If you're using what I'm using, then for sure use the temperatures that I use and see if it worked for you. But I can't tell the perfect temp for anything because I don't know what wax you're using, and I've probably never even tried a wax before. Again, guys, I'm always open to answering any questions you guys have. Just let me know in the comment section, and anyone can tell you. I always reply in a few days time, 1 to 2 days max. I'm open. I don't have any trade secrets. I know there are other candle makers who won't give you direct answers. I'm not one of them. I'm very open. So if there's something you want to know about candles that I'm doing, and you have a question about, or what I'm using, or where I bought something, I will always answer. Because guess what? My candle business might not make it for a year, and I might help someone who does. So for me, that's might not be my achievement, but it still brings me joy that someone can get something done or achieve something, even if I give the minimal amount of help. So again, there are no trade secrets. Don't be afraid to ask me anything, except for perfect temperature for wax, and I'll always answer, guys, regardless of whatever. Again, thank you guys so much for subscribing and watching my video. I'm still talking fast, I'm sorry about that, and I'll see you next time, hopefully without these videos and with brighter lights. So again, guys, like always, please stay safe. Bye.